everybody. Welcome back to my kitchen table. I'm Rachel. Today we're going to be making an appetizer. No matter what holiday you guys celebrate and no matter what kind of event you're holding, this appetizer is going to be a hit. It is my shallot and gorgonzola stuffed mushrooms. So I have taken a shallot and cut it directly in half. And then we are going to cut lengthwise. You want to cut them relatively thin because these are going to be going into your mushrooms. We're going to cut that root end off. And I would say these are about 1/8 of an inch thick. And sometimes they're broken up into two, so you just take that other half and just cut it as well. Okay, and cutting them lengthwise makes them a lot milder than if you were to cut it crosswise. Same with an onion. All right, so our shallot is cut. And so now that our shallot is cut, we are going to get it into the pan. Alright, you guys, I'm going to take 2 tablespoons of butter and about 1 tablespoon of olive oil and just put that in the pan. The olive oil prevents the butter from burning. We're going to let this melt and then we're going to add the shallots. While the butter's melting, I'm going to turn on my oven to 375 degrees so that it's nice and hot when we're ready to put our mushrooms in the oven. So now we're just going to let this melt for a little bit longer and then we'll be ready to get our shallots in. Okay, we are ready to put our shallots in. Alright, and we're just going to cook these until they get softened, and that takes about 5 minutes. I'm going to put a little bit of salt on them. Essentially what you're doing here is you're caramelizing them in a way. Not in the traditional sense that you would an onion. We're not going to do it low and slow. We're just going to get them going. I'm moving because you don't want them to burn to the bottom of the pan. But we want these definitely cooked down enough to where they will maneuver themselves into a mushroom. While this is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to get the mushrooms finished. Okay, so here I have a 16-ounce package of cremini mushrooms. You can use white button mushrooms, whichever you prefer. But essentially all you're looking to do is to take this stem out and maybe trim around the edges a little bit in order to get the mushrooms stuffed nicely. Make sure to wash your mushrooms well before you start. And once we've got the stems off, we're just going to put them in this bowl because we're going to douse them with olive oil, and then that way they can have a bit of fat to cook in the oven. Okay? And you want to be careful not to go too far down. You don't want to stab the actual cap of the mushroom. You just want to get enough of this stem out to build a nest for your filling. This is what I'm talking about. All of this goo right here, that can go. So you're just going to go around your mushroom with your little paring knife and get all of that off so that your mushroom looks neat. But be careful because these are very delicate and we don't want to cut them and we don't want to break them. So now we're ready to put our olive oil in. I'm going to stir these a bit. Okay, now we're ready to put the olive oil into our mushrooms. You only want to put about maybe a tablespoon or 2. Just enough to toss them. Okay, we're just going to toss them in this oil. If it's not enough to coat them and they're not going to be too, it's not going to have like a sheen effect because it's a mushroom, you're going to be able to see the oil on them. But if they don't look like they have enough, please add more. You want to add a little bit at a time because you don't want to overdo it. You just need a little bit. All right. There we go. Okay, so these are completely covered in oil, and we're just going to set them out. Let me turn it this way. We're going to set them out on this rimmed baking sheet, and then we will begin to fill them here in a moment. Okay. Okay. Now I have my Gorgonzola cheese here and my shallots here in this pan. They are caramelized nicely. You can see them, I don't know. Yeah, you can see them. Caramelized nicely. And we are going to start to build. So the first thing I like to do is I like to put the Gorgonzola cheese inside. And I like to top them with the shallots. And keep in mind, this cheese is going to melt. So, you know, you don't want to be too generous because you don't want it overflowing, but you also don't need to be stingy with it either. Just a nice capful, maybe like this. Here, I'm going to show you. Maybe like this. And then we'll just set the shallots right on top, and they will cook down nicely right along with your mushrooms. This is very simple to make. It only takes a few ingredients. That seems to be my theme lately, which is great because a lot of us are really, really busy around this time of year. Most of us are. And we don't really have time to mess around with so many different ingredients. You know, we just want to get it in, get it done, and move along with our next task. So these will be a godsend to you if you decide to make them, which I hope you do because they're delicious. And they're easy. They're so simple. I remember I used to be intimidated by stuffed mushrooms. It's like, oh my gosh, what do you do? How do you get them stuffed? And then I watched my sister do it one time, and that was that. I knew exactly what I was doing, and then I started coming up with my own variations. She likes to use sausage and cream cheese, which a lot of people do, but I wanted to do something a little bit different, so I decided to do some Gorgonzola cheese, which is my favorite cheese, and some shallots, because I really like the garlicky flavor of the shallots. All right, we've got about half of them done. All right, now I am using the Gorgonzola crumbles that you can buy in the store. You're more than happy to use a wedge of whatever kind you like, just as long as it crumbles easily so that you can fill your caps nicely. Otherwise, you can just cut pieces off and just shove them on in there. I am looking very forward to eating these. They are so good. Okay. All right, now these small ones, this little guy right here, these are the tough ones. So what I like to do is find the biggest chunk in there I can and just stick it right in there. And then fill it with just a little bit. You're going to lose some, but fill it with just a little bit of extra crumbles. If you can. Mine keep wanting to fall out. And then I just put like 1 or 2 shallots on that one. Now for the shallots. So I'm going to take my spatula off of here. And I'm going to grab a fork. just a little fork. And try not to scrape my pan there. And I'm just going to place them ever so gently on the top of each one. And again, these will absolutely cook down right along with your mushroom. So do not worry about that. Now you're only going to be able to get a couple of shallots here, so per each, which is okay, because you want a nice balance. Okay, so these are ready to go into the oven, and we're just going to put them in a 375-degree oven for 15 minutes. Okay guys, it's been 15 minutes, and yes, I'm cooking my roast now. So while we wait, oh, that was a lot of heat. So while we wait, we have our mushrooms to eat. Let me just put one on the spoon because it's very, very hot. There we go. This is what they look like when all is said and done. Now keep in mind, mushrooms do hold a lot of moisture. They're 80% water, so you are going to have liquid around your pan, okay? But that's okay. That doesn't mean that there's any flavor variation. There's no difference. It's going to taste just the same. The only difference is you're just going to have a kind of a wet tray. So you just put it on a plate and serve it that way. And there you have it. Gorgonzola and shallot stuffed mushrooms. Okay, these are really hot, but I'm going to taste one anyway. That's good. Okay. Way too hot, but super good. Super good. Okay, so your mushrooms are delish, obviously. The Gorgonzola is just a powerhouse of flavor, and it's so, 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 so good. And then you have your caramelized shallots, which really dance with that butter across that Gorgonzola. You guys, best appetizer ever. Give these a try for your whole family. Make a ton and eat them yourself. I don't care, but do it because it's so good. You guys are going to miss out if you don't. Thank you guys so much for watching Rachel's Kitchen Table. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Happy eating. Bye.